We'll be listening. We'll be open to good ideas and good faith negotiations. But here's what we won't be open to. We will not be open to doing nothing. Inaction simply is not an option.
President Biden this week saying inaction is not an option as he makes the case for his $2 trillion infrastructure proposal. The administration continuing to claim that the U.S. is in an economic crisis as it pushes forward with its policy agenda. But following last week's blowout March jobs report and other signs of an economy set to soar, will all that new spending do more harm than good? Let's ask economist Don Luskin. He's the chief investment officer at Trend Macro. Don, nice to see you.
Great to
be here. I'm reading your stuff over the months. You've been saying for a long time that the economy was set to take off when the economy opened, when the lockdowns ended. I think your ship is coming in. What evidence are you looking at when you make the case for a really spectacular boom, maybe even in 2021?
Well, all you need to know is that America is open for business again. A year ago, we made the mistake of deliberately inducing a depression in order to try and fail to contain a virus. So a year has gone by. We're city by city, state by state, country by country, reopening and coming back into the marketplace, coming back into contact with each other. And unlike any other recession or depression in history, this time everywhere in the world, households didn't have to draw down their savings in order just to get through it, because it was brief and because there were so many relief payments in the form of stimulus payments and enhanced unemployment benefits. In the last year, $3 trillion has been saved by American households. There's never been a number like that. This is like the end of World War II, when the world goes back to business and rationing is over, having to buy war bonds is over, so it's time for Rosie the Riveter and her husband who's been serving overseas to get reunited, spend those savings, get involved in household formation, create a baby boom. That's what we're looking for. This is going to be the roaring 2020s for sure.
Well, is it going to last, I guess, is the question. That's not one. How long will it last? And I want to ask you about this spending, because we have, they spent all the money you talked about just since December. I think it's it's roughly $3 trillion. Now, President Biden wants to spend $4 trillion more, some of it on infrastructure, a lot of it on social spending. Do we really need this for purposes of lifting the economy?
Well, there's a deep internal contradiction in the message that we're getting from our new president. If we're still in a crisis and we need to prop up the economy, is this a good time to lay $2.25 trillion of new taxes on American corporations, half of whom are still struggling to come out of a depression? That makes no sense at all. If these projects that he's proposing, if these are indeed positive net present value infrastructure projects that will pay for themselves, that is a textbook case of something that you should debt finance. It'll pay for itself. The last thing you want to do is drain the coffers of corporate America to do these things.
All right. Well, how much damage would $2 trillion worth of corporate tax increases do? Because, I mean, as you know, a lot of infrastructure spending rolls out over a long period of time. Taxes, though, can hit immediately. How much harm will they do economically?
Well, they'll be approximately synchronized, but let's assume for the sake of argument that they're literally synchronized, that over any one given year during this program, let's say it's $250 billion worth of new taxes matched by $250 billion worth of new spending. Now, in a naive model, you'd say, well, that's just a perfect circular flow. The economy hasn't gotten any bigger or any smaller. It's 250 out, 250 in. Oh, but that's not true, because that's $250 billion taken out of the private sector, where the decisions on how to spend and invest that are made by smart people on the ground, innovating, sensing the needs of the economy at their own fingertips, transferring that instead to Washington, where a bunch of unelected bureaucrats are going to decide how to spend that $250 billion every year. So the issue isn't the money, the issue is the relocation of decision-making power from optimal to deeply suboptimal. That's not going to help.
Well, and I guess that gets to the question of just how sustainable is this, is a recovery of the magnitude you're talking about, because